We're going to talk to Turning Point contributor Topher. If you're unfamiliar with Topher, he is a phenomenal force in the movement. He is a musician. He is articulate. He's been with the organization for probably about a year now. Topher, is that accurate?
Yes, it's been a year and 2 months probably today.
So I'll just open up the floor to you. What are your thoughts? What would you like to get out there that people need to hear about Charlie?
Well, first and foremost, all I'm saying is the out of text context, out of text quotes that I'm seeing so many people post as a rebuttal to,
Hmm.
um, I guess, remembering his life, and it just reminds me of how people abuse the Bible, and which goes back to one of the reasons I think Charlie was assassinated for the truth. It was nothing more than the truth. He went out there, spoke it boldly, time and time again, in spite of the threats that were on his life. He didn't pay for full-time security for no reason, right? And that's what people don't understand. You know, Courage is to do what you need to do in the face of danger, and that's what he did every time I saw him. And I just want to say thank you, Charlie, for believing in the gift God placed in me. I'm a guy from Kilmichael, Mississippi, uh, that, I had a platform that was growing, but Charlie saw that I could add to this movement that he was already rapidly growing, and that I could be a voice for the next generation and help inspire the world changers. And to be a part of this, man, you just have to be a part of it. People calling this man racist, just shut up. That's all I can tell people. Just shut up. I mean, how much does he have to do with organizations like Blexit, with best friends like Candace? I mean, us, right? Like with people like us that he helps elevate our voices. How much must you do to prove that you're not racist? It's
Yeah.
so stupid to me, you know. But I do want to remind people, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, don't celebrate death. Celebrate life. It's only the angels in the Bible talks about the only time they celebrate anything is when someone gives their life to Christ. That's the only time you hear them celebrating. We should do the same thing when somebody comes over. But this death thing is evil. Don't
Mhm.
let Satan use you. Don't be a useful idiot for political movements and motives and other movements. But also don't be a useful idiot for the devil.
Yeah.
We're better than this. We're Americans. And I'm telling you this though, you know, the mic is still going to be picked up and it's still going to go on. I don't know who's going to take the helm, but I tell you this, they have really done it this time. They have done it this time. You know,
Yeah.
I wasn't as close as you were to Charlie, but every time I was around Charlie, he was smiling and he was encouraging. Like, he was more encouraging than a lot of my friends I grew up with that made fun of me before. But it's that's the Charlie I knew, and I'm going to remember that legacy today, especially with 9/11 and Patriot Day. He was a true American patriot, a true American hero, and I just hope that everybody else sees that too, man. So America, do better.
I'm curious about your thoughts and perspectives about this. This is not at all in a way to use a pun, but I genuinely think the most apt and appropriate use of the term turning point is this
Mm.
situation that we're in. As awful as it is a turning point in American culture. And what I've viewed in the couple hours, day since it's happened is the willingness to engage in areas that I wouldn't have otherwise engaged in. And that can be as small as somebody posts something on a social media platform that I usually would just roll my eyes at. But now I think, no, I'm not going to let you get away with that. What is, in your
Mm.
opinion, the kind of the Christian approach to doing that? Because I do think we're at a turning point, we're at an inflection point, and it needs to be done. How do we go about doing that?
Um, in truth, there's a
Mm,
viral video I found Charlie Kirk when a young lady asked him about that. How do we deal with civil discourse? And he quoted John 8. It's one way to do it with grace and truth. As Christians, we should do that. Like, I'm
mhm.
coming to you gracefully. but I'm also coming at you with truth. Like you, I appreciate your opinion and you have the right to it, but you don't have the right to your own truth. And what you're doing is evil, is wrong, and you need to correct it. You know, we got to start calling out sin, and I think it's more potent when it's not hypocritical. So if you're gonna do it from one side, do it for both sides, and just
Hmm.
stand on it. Uh, we all can improve in that area, but I try my best to do the same. And like you,
Hmm.
man, if everybody is, they can have their own platforms. So I try not to engage with it because, ironically, because of social media, my name is big. So if I come in anything, it's just gonna
Yeah.
drive up the algorithm, and then it's gonna get more attention, and they're gonna make money. So
Mm.
I try to draw a fine line between calling somebody out on a post and just making my own commentary on my own
Yeah.
page. And but we need both. We need both. We need to show the world and show the devil that we're not going to stay quiet in this time of evilness. We're going to rise up and we're going to stand on truth.
Topher, I opened the show effectively, I don't know, talking about godlessness in the country because that's what I think this really comes down to. I think there is a yes, the political rhetoric is heated, the political climate, but that's not the root cause. The root cause, I believe, is godlessness, and I'm not assuming that you agree with that, but in so much as that is true, that America is becoming an increasingly godless society, what do we do to right that ship? What do we do, with your platform, with the, just everyday average people? What do we do to try and reverse course and bring God back into a society that I believe it was John Adams said only works. This country and the idea of America only works for a moral and religious people.
I would say what Ephesians 6:12 and 13 talks about, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against uh,
Mm.
darkness and evil in high places. So wherefore put on the whole armor of God, so that you be able to stand in the day of evil, having all but stood. Taking a stand is an action, and we just need to stand on what God has already said, His promises and His plans. I feel like as Christians, we do that. The very simple act of doing that could
Mm.
be monumental, and it could be groundbreaking for so many people. We saw that. That's once again, this has been Charlie's legacy. He's done things that makes me feel convicted for how shallow my walk has been when I was younger. This man waited till he was married to have sex. He did everything that you were supposed to do, and then followed faithfully. He was a great servant, and it's a walk today that we don't have to worry about any drama. A lot of these leaders that we have, we got to worry about scandals or things like
Yeah.
that. We don't have that with Charlie. We just get to talk about the great things that he did and the great life that he led. So I'm proud, and to me, that's what's going to turn heads. Christian music is already making waves, and given the unstableness of culture, politics, and the world, that's why I'm glad the Bible says the word is never changing. God's the same as it was yesterday, today, and forever. And that right there, that stability, if Christians can remain there, man, a lot of people will start flocking to us. But we got to stand strong, remain strong in this fight.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah,
Topher, Turning Point contributor, among many other hats that he wears in the conservative movement. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time.
yeah. Thank you for having a good one.
Thank you.